she's being told X, Y, and Z, and I don't think
I told her before the match, I don't mind if you win or lose.
And now she's made history in a major way, not just for herself, but for her country and for the next generation watching.
Everyone saw the Instagram post. Salamat mga kababayan, talo ngayon pero tuloy pa rin ang laban. Resilience, fighting spirit, pure Filipino heart. The entire nation celebrated and moved on. Nobody looked underneath it. February 9th, 2026. Qatar Open, first round. 7-6-6, 6-1. 0 aces, 3 double faults. 4 of 7 breakpoints surrendered on her own serve. A 4-2 first set lead, gone. A second set that collapsed 5-0 before anyone could breathe.
Appearance in the main draw of a WTA 1000 in her young career.
I will do my best. I will try my best to again win here. But yeah, I'm going like every single match, every single point. So
yeah, you're playing about the money, so I think it can be the different also.
Valentova did not just beat Eala, she exposed something the entire tennis world missed, and the feel-good narrative buried it completely before anyone asked the right questions. 70 points to 54. 22 winners to 12. The numbers were screaming. Nobody was listening. Until now. Because Alex Eala's coach exposes what really happened in Doha. The part they tried to hide behind the resilience post. And it changes everything about how you see her road ahead.
You know, maybe a poor schedule and maybe they could schedule him on a bigger court, yes, but again, she's Alex Eala, you know, yeah, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. You know, there's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. You know, she's been the biggest ever, you know, tennis player.
So what exactly happened in Doha that the resilience post conveniently skipped over? Let's start from the beginning. Because this was not a straightforward loss. Eala came out sharp, composed, the kind of start that makes Filipino fans immediately start planning the victory parade. She broke early, built a 4-2 lead in the first set, and looked like someone who had already written the match report in her head. Valentova looked beatable. The crowd was behind Eala. Everything was pointing in the right direction. And then something shifted. Valentova won 4 straight games, took the set to a tiebreak. And in that tiebreak, the moment that separates the good from the great, Eala blinked. Lost it 8-6. A set that was comfortably in hand 30 minutes earlier had somehow slipped through the fingers. The second set was worse. Valentova opened with a 5-0 surge that was so dominant it felt less like a tennis match and more like a scheduled appointment. Eala did pull back 2 games. Because she always fights, that part is never in. Question, but the damage was done. Final score 7-6, 6, 6-1. Valentova's second win over Eala in their head-to-head.
Started to play a bit better, but then I started to play better like me. So it was like, yeah, we started to play better both. So yeah, it was an incredible match.
Pivotal in this one, she won that tiebreak, and the second set more comfortable.
The first came in Japan 2025, where she won 6-1, 6-2. At this point, Valentova has played Eala twice and won both times without dropping a set, which is either a remarkable coincidence or a very specific tactical blueprint that someone needs to address urgently. Now here's where the numbers get uncomfortable. Valentova hit 22 winners. Eala hit 12. Valentova won 75% of her first serve points. Eala won 55% of hers. Valentova converted 4 of 7 breakpoints. Eala conceded 4 of 7 on her own serve, meaning nearly every time Valentova had a chance to break, she took it. Total points 70-54. Not a close match dressed up as a close match. A dominant performance that a first set tiebreak made look more competitive than it actually was. And the serve numbers are the part coach Juan Bosch cannot ignore. 0 aces, 3 double faults, 66% first serves in. For a player whose athleticism and shot-making are genuinely elite, the serve is not just a weakness. At this level, against opponents who have now studied her twice, it is becoming a roadmap. A very detailed, very exploitable roadmap. Here is where coach Juan Bosch enters the conversation, and what he exposes about Doha is the part nobody wanted to say out loud.
And it's 2 wins in a row over Alexandra Eala after they met back end of last season.
I'm really appreciative and super thankful.
Pilipinas, sa mga bumiyahe, maraming salamat sa suporta. And for the people who are from not the Philippines, thank you so much.
More on that in a few moments from now. It's selfie time.
The serve numbers from Qatar did not disappear after the loss. They followed Eala straight to Dubai. Same tournament circuit, same preparation window, same coach, and the same problem showed up almost immediately. Against Coco Gauff in the Dubai quarterfinal, a match that came just days after Doha, Eala placed 57% of first serves in and won only 27% of those points. 27%. Against a 2-time Grand Slam champion operating at peak level, winning less than a third of points on your own first serve is not a bad day. It is a structural problem that opponents have identified and are now actively targeting, which brings us to what they tried to hide. Not intentionally, not maliciously. But the resilience narrative, the Instagram post, the Filipino crowd, the comeback story, created so much noise that the real conversation got completely drowned out. Nobody was asking why a player with elite athleticism, elite shot making, and elite mental strength was losing serve at this rate against opponents ranked outside the top 25. Nobody was connecting the Doha numbers to the Dubai numbers and asking whether this was a pattern rather than a bad week. Bosch was, because that is his job. The conditioning scrutiny is real and documented.
She's being told X, Y, and Z, and I don't think get out of there. Well, the crowd are seeing the pictures on the big screen.
I think there are much worse problems to have. So I think every tournament wants record-breaking attendance.
After the Qatar loss, Eala looked physically tired in Dubai in a way that raised legitimate questions. Not about her effort, that has never been in doubt, but about preparation load, recovery between tournaments, and whether the serve mechanics under fatigue are being addressed in practice the way they need to be. Valentova has now beaten Eala twice without dropping a single set. The tactical blueprint exists. Other players on tour are watching. And the part they tried to hide behind the feel-good narrative is now the most important technical conversation in Philippine tennis. Bosch knows it, the numbers confirm it, and now the tennis world does too. Here is the part that changes everything. Because the Doha story does not end in Doha.
Filipino tennis ace Alex Eala has officially broken into the WTA Top 40. Alex Eala is set to compete in the singles and doubles events.
With energy like that, you don't get tired, so it was good.
And Alex, so good to have you out here for the first time. How special is that?
Having too much crowd on this or any other tennis tournament is a very good problem to have.
3 days after that Qatar first-round exit, Eala packed her bags, flew back to the UAE, and did something that reframed the entire narrative. She reached the Dubai quarterfinals, beat world number 8 Jasmine Paolini 6-1, 7-6, dismantled Cirstea 7-5, 6-4, became the first Filipino in history to reach a Dubai WTA 1000 quarterfinal, and in doing so became only the third Asian player to reach multiple WTA 1000 quarterfinals before turning 21, joining Naomi Osaka and Zheng Qinwen. Read that company again. Osaka, Zheng, Eala. Those are not rising players, those are generational talents. But here is what Bosch knows that the celebration missed. The serve followed her to Dubai. The conditioning gaps followed her to Dubai. And when Gauff arrived in the quarterfinal, clinical, powerful, operating at a level that exposes every technical weakness with surgical precision, the same numbers appeared. 57% first serves in, 27% of first serve points won, a 6-0, 6-2 loss that was not about effort or heart or fighting spirit. It was about a structural problem that 3 days of recovery between Doha and Dubai had not fixed. Because structural problems do not fix themselves between tournaments. They fix themselves in practice, in preparation, in the kind of detailed technical work that happens away from cameras and Instagram posts and national celebrations. That is what Bosch is addressing. That is what they tried to hide behind the feel-good narrative. Not a scandal, not a conspiracy, something far more important than either of those things, a genuine technical roadmap for how Eala gets from where she is to where she is clearly capable of going.
Tennis star Alex Eala advances to the Dubai WTA 1000 quarterfinals. Sheila Salaysay has that story.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to come on here and thank every single one of you for your support, taking the time and effort out of your day to be there and cheer me on with the other girls. It means so much, especially at this time of the year. I couldn't thank you more, and I had such a fun time playing here.
The 2025 season proved the ceiling is extraordinary. Miami semifinal, Swiatek defeated, PSA Best Athlete of the Year, 100 ranking spots climbed, a player who arrived at the top level and immediately started beating the people who were supposed to be untouchable. But the WTA Tour does not stand still. Valentova has a blueprint. Other opponents are building one. The players who lose to Eala won't study her differently the second time. That is not a criticism. That is the price of becoming relevant at this level. And relevance at this level demands that every weakness gets fixed before it becomes a pattern that defines a career rather than a chapter in one. The serve is fixable. The conditioning is addressable. Bosch knows exactly what happened in Doha. And the fact that he is having this conversation publicly, rather than letting the resilience narrative do the work, is the most encouraging sign Philippine tennis has seen since that Miami semifinal run. Because coaches who expose problems are the ones who fix them, and players who face the truth about their weaknesses are the ones who eventually eliminate them entirely. Doha was not the story, it was the diagnosis. So here is the question worth asking right now. Valentova is 2-0. The serve numbers are documented, the conditioning gaps are real. But Eala just reached a Dubai quarterfinal 3 days after Doha and joined Osaka and Jung in the history books while doing it. Which version of Alex Eala shows up at the next major, the one Valentova exposed or the one who beat Swiatek, Paolini, and made history on 3 different continents in a single year? Drop your answer in the comments. Can Bosch fix the serve before the French Open? And does Eala crack the top 20 by the end of 2026? Hit like, share this with every tennis and Filipino sports fan you know, and subscribe, because this story is only getting more interesting from here.